Hello and welcome to Memoirs of Successful Women. I'm Annie Gibbins, founder and CEO of Women's Biz Global, and I invite you to kick off your heels, get comfortable, and be ready to receive the golden nuggets that are shared as you listen in to candid conversations I have with fascinating women from around the globe. Business leaders, entrepreneurs, humanitarians, athletes, and a whole lot of regular people. They will keep you riveted as they let their guard down and open up on aspects of their business and life journey, how they measure success, and what they have learned along the way. My intent is that our conversations will inspire you to embrace opportunities and possibilities beyond the limits of your imagination, because I know that this is where we reclaim our power. I want you to reclaim your power, your strength, and vulnerability, to stand in your truth and propel yourself towards the life that you dream to live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Women's Biz Podcast, Memoirs of Successful Women. And I am going to introduce such a fascinating woman to you today. Her name is Josselyne Herman-Saccio. She's an author, an entrepreneur, a former #1 pop star. Yes, I know, pretty exciting. And also founder of a nonprofit. She's a mum of 3, and she's all about coaching, empowering women, particularly, or hopefully men and women actually, realizing their dreams now. Why wait till someday? Why not just do it now? And her signature brand, if you like, is called Unmessablewith, which I really love and I can't wait to dive into, because let's face it, we all get messed with so often in life. And I love a woman who goes and says, nah, let's just get unmessable. So welcome to the program, Josselyne.
Thank you so much for having me. I think we've got the memo to wear like orangey kind of corals today.
Yes, exactly. We are, for those of you who are watching us on YouTube or any of my visual platforms, yes, we are coordinating beautifully today, which is very, very nice. And why not just wake up and get bright and breezy? And I'm in Sydney, so I've just woken up and I've just had my first coffee. But Josselyne is coming to us from New York, so she's ready to just peter off soon.
I just had my last coffee and I'll be having my first glass of wine after this.
What a great plan.
Yeah.
I think we're connecting ourselves very well. So let's just backtrack then. You work with people to become unmessable with is your brand. Let's just start with, what does unmessable with mean?
It's a good question. It's so funny because people, whether they understand what it means or not, they just like the word. So they're just kind of like, whatever that is, I want that, whatever it is. But I'll tell you what it doesn't mean. It doesn't mean being tough or callous or somehow negating your emotions or any of that. What it really means is being someone who can stand in who you really are, in your vision, in your dream, and act from that place rather than getting hooked or messable with, as I call it, by your reactions to whatever's coming at you. So no matter what life is throwing at you, you're able to be powerful, free, self-expressed, and make the difference that you want to make.
I love that. I love that. To be waking up every morning like I just have and went, you know what? I'm a woman with a dream, a plan. I've got goals, and I actually want to be so assured. I want to be so confident. I want to just be so into not myself, but into my abilities to actually just show up as my best self, right? And then not be messed with all those distractors, all of those things that they're the reason that we unravel, right? They're the reason that we don't get there, or we don't get there quick enough, or sometimes we just get, mortally wounded or, disheartened, I suppose.
Yeah, down for the count, I would call that. Something happens and you're just like, forget it. It's not even worth it. I'm not even going to bother. And so many people's dreams end up like that, Most people have a dream when they're little or even a teenager. And at some point, somebody said, that's stupid, or you're never going to be able to do that. And that was it. They just gave up on their dreams. So I reignite, and to your point earlier, definitely women and men, although about 70% of my clients are women. But, you know, I reignite people's dreams and then empower them to be unmessable with and fulfilling them, no matter what life is throwing at them.
I love that. I love that. And it changes lives once you hook onto the secret ingredients that are required to really learn how to become unmessable. And I love what you said at the beginning, that it's not about being tough. It's not about pushing other people out of the way. It's actually a lot more about just that assurance in your own self and your dreams and beliefs. So what I would love to just jump back to then is, what was your why to do that? You're obviously a woman. I'm just going to do a psych profile here.
Yes.
You got messed with. Did you just get so messed with that you went, you know what, we need to do this better? Or was there another reason in the backstory that you went, no, this is just what I'll do?
It was more from a creation space rather than a reaction space. So when I was 11, my parents were separated and they were going to get divorced. And my mother did a transformative workshop. And then she had been sort of like a victim of this whole situation with my dad. And again, I was pretty young. And then a year later, my dad did the same workshop and they got back together. And they are celebrating next week their 65th anniversary.
Oh, bless.
So what I saw was a woman go from being messable with to being unmessable with in the course of a weekend workshop. And I was like, what is going on? So when they got back together at 11, I said, what did you do? Like, because I did not think they were going to be staying together.
Yeah.
And they said they did this workshop and would I like to do it? Because they had a kids version. I said, yeah. So at 11, I began my journey into transformative work. And although, you know, it was like I was 11, it wasn't like I was like, oh, I'm going to be unmessable with. But what used to stop me no longer stopped me. It was like, and I can give you a concrete example. I used to play tennis before. When I was 10, I played tennis and I loved tennis. But then one day, this girl, Hillary Adler from my school, came to play tennis at the tennis club that I went to, or whatever, the camp. And she was the best athlete I had ever seen. And I was not like naturally athletic or anything. And I took one look at her and I was like, I am never going to be as good as Hillary Adler or as athletic as Hillary Adler. So I quit tennis.
Yeah.
That's called being messable with, right? Comparing yourself to someone else, having some limiting belief about yourself. So after I did this transformative work at 11, I fell in love with basketball and I tried out for the basketball team and I didn't make it on. But instead of stopping, I started playing even more. I was playing every morning, 6 a.m. I would meet my friends at the basketball court. I found another league to play in. And then on the next year, made it on the team without even trying out. So that's like an example on the court, so to speak, of being unmessable with. And then later on, not that late, but I was early 20s, I was in another workshop and I had always had a dream to be a singer, but I thought you can't do your art as your career. And I was convinced that that was the truth. And I had plenty of people agreeing with me. So in this workshop, I saw that as a belief, not as the truth. And it was a belief I came up with at 5 years old. So it wasn't even like in some infinite wisdom of 5. I decided you can't do your art as your career. And my whole life had been inside of, well, I'll be a business person. And I was 19 running companies. I mean, and I was successful, but my heart wasn't fulfilled because I really wanted to be a singer. So right after that workshop, within 3 weeks, I got a record deal. And then that record went #1. And that was when I decided, that's it. I am going to make sure people have the tools to be unmessable with and fulfill their dreams. Because if I could do it, anybody could do it. And I just was on a mission then. And I started leading transformative workshops for people. I started my company to empower actors to fulfill their dreams in the entertainment business. And that's where the whole Unmessable With brand began.
I love that story because one, it just is a window into your life and your childhood. And I always just love to find that 10-year-old girl somewhere because it just speaks volumes to the messages that we adopt, the supposed truths that we take on, right?
Well said, supposed truths.
Supposed truths. And I've got the exact same story, 10-year-old loving ballet and then getting told your legs are fat and you'll never be in the front row like the skinny chicks. And then instantly just went, I quit ballet. And I loved ballet, but I never went back. I then took up swimming or something because that's
exactly. We compensate, we do what we figure is doable versus what we really want, which is what people do.
Yeah. Exactly. And also this view that, just because you can't, even if you can't be the best, you can certainly love it. You can certainly enjoy it. You can bring out that spark of joy that goes, oh my goodness, I was just at a wedding on the weekend and my sister-in-law was just taken up dancing in her 60s. And oh my goodness, like this, she's just beaming. This sense of self is just coming. She goes, have I told you about my dancing? And it's kind of like, oh my God. Yes. But how wonderful is that, right? That somewhere in there, I bet if we tapped into her as a 10-year-old girl, she always did want to do ballet, or maybe she did and she stopped for a reason. And I love it that we can actually change so quickly when we actually get this little, we get unhooked from the blanket statements, these beliefs that we do accept as truths, that we can then just go, I love that what you did there, actually. You went and said, well, what if it's, what if it's not a truth? What if it's, just someone's opinion?
Or just what I decided at 5 years old. Like, what am I, a genius at 5 that I know everything about what's possible and what's not? It's absurd, I
know. Even though at 5 you do feel like you just know everything. I love it. I've got a 5-year-old granddaughter at the moment. She just put the hand up.
Yes.
That's the way it is. Absolutely love that. Now, first of all, let's just congratulate you, pop star #1. We're talking #1 in America.
Yes, and Japan and Canada.
Amazing.
It was a dream come true. Yeah.
What a dream come true. And this happened in a very short period of time by the sound of it for you. So you got picked, you just became a singer, got picked up, and then your song became #1.
It took about 3 years for the #1 to happen. But the record deal happened within 3 weeks. And I was, in London recording with Kylie Minogue's team. Given you're down under, you'd know Kylie, but
very well.
Stock Aitken and Waterman produced our album, and it was like within 3 months, I'm in a recording studio recording, and I went from being not a singer. I was like a secret singer, like like in my closet, I was singing, or my shower. But I literally went in 3 weeks from somebody who was, you can't do your art as your career, and I don't want to be a starving artist, to having a record deal. And that was not mysterious. It was from taking the actions that a singer would take, because I had altered my belief system. It was no longer so solid or rigid like a lid. The lid was off.
Exactly. What does a person do? That's the thinking. That's the mindset. The person who becomes #1, what do they do? What do they believe? Therefore, if I believe that and I act that way, it is way more likely, in your case happened, but way more likely that you'll be leaning forward and connecting with that and eventually getting there, than someone who goes, well, that's just not possible.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's not brain surgery to figure out. It's like, if you think something's not possible, you're not going to act on it.
When you had this revelation and you're there and you have got the #1 song and, you're living suddenly in this other world, right? Life changes overnight. What did you learn about other people in that industry who you thought they're still getting messed with? What sort of examples could you share that you go, I actually believe that person could have been better than they realized, but they were still stuck in a...
Well, there's not a person I've ever met that doesn't get messed with, including, CEOs of major companies. And I work with very successful people. So it doesn't really matter how successful you are. There's always something that's like a lid, some limiting belief that you don't realize is a belief, or some person that hooks you, because they remind you of Hillary Adler or whatever. Although I'm complete with Hillary Adler. She is the most athletic person I've ever seen. Every picture on Facebook is her climbing mountains and doing yoga on like a beach. And I'm just like, I'll never be like her. It's okay though, That's
all right. She's just playing that space, and Hillary should do it too.
That's right. That's right. But everybody's got stuff that hooks them, or that stops them from functioning in a high performance way. So I work with people to unleash the high performer in them in the areas of life that really matter to them. Because even if somebody can be very, very, in fact, most of the people that I deal with that are really successful, they're really good at reacting to life. because things are coming at them and they have to deal with them and they're reacting constantly. That's a very different muscle than creating. And creation is the muscle I work with people on. I get them out of reaction mode and into creation mode. And that's a very magical space to be in, that space of create. Like, you could just relate when you first started your podcast and maybe you didn't really know what you were doing and you were just kind of creating, and it was so invigorating, and even your failures were invigorating because you were in that creation mode. Then you create something, you build it, and I'm not saying it did for you, but it can shift into this mode of management. Like, you got to manage it.
Business as usual. Yeah, business as usual.
You got to book the guests, you got to survive, you got to get a sponsor, you got to, and it becomes something that you're looking down at versus looking up and out through. And that's what I work with people on.
That is such a great visual, because I love it. I love that excitement when you're in something and it's growing. It's that feeling of new life. You're birthing new things. You're pushing the envelope. You're growing. And sometimes, for me, it's exciting. For other people, it's stressful. I'm just a changed lover. So I wonder where this is going to go. Whereas other people go, oh my goodness, I need to know where it's going to go.
Yeah, I want certainty. It's like, okay, well, there is no certainty in reality, but you can convince yourself you're certain of something, but it's not real.
Exactly. I had 4 children in 2 years. That's why I kind of adapt to a lot of change. I'm like, oh, look, there is definitely no certainty in life after having 2 sets of twins.
I was going to say 2 sets of twins, I hope. Otherwise, you were just incredibly busy.
I don't know if it's humanly possible. Yes, exactly right. But it shows you, when you have these crazy life experiences, that, sometimes it can actually help you in the long run. That actually often it does, because it makes you just suddenly see things from a different perspective when you don't have a concrete view on the way things have to be, or the way things in your mind should be. Now, I know your TED Talk was called Abracadabra, Realizing Your Dreams Now. Is it really like abracadabra? You're saying it happens over a weekend. So, this is amazing. Those people listening in from around the globe should be like going, oh my goodness, I want a bit of abracadabra. How do I become?
Who doesn't want magic, right? But let me clarify, So abracadabra in ancient Aramaic literally means, with my word I create. So it is the act of speaking, declaring, that creates. And literally, you say something and it becomes real, like right then in that moment. So the first step that I work with people on is creating what their vision is, in their word. And that's the same thing that, you say, I'm going to go to the gym. That's your word too. So if you have a weak word in your promises or your schedule, your word to create your dreams are also going to be weak. So, if you really want to be somebody who can triple your income or put intimacy in your marriage or whatever it is that you want to create, you have to be solid and powerful with your word, even in, I'm going to take out the garbage at 7. Or I'm going to work out 3 times this week for an hour each time. Because when your word is weak one area, it's weak every area. It's the same paintbrush,
So true.
Which is word. Yeah. And then my TED Talk, which is more about getting at what I call your dream source. Like, why do you have the dreams you have? What's underneath that vision? It isn't about getting an Academy Award or, having a #1. What is it that you really want? Like, what's the space that becomes available when you accomplish your goals? What is that? And then when people can identify that, then they can live from that place rather than try and get it out of life. So that is meaning that you can fulfill your dreams right now by bringing, let's say, self-expression is your dream source. You can bring self-expression to this interaction, to your Starbucks visit, to whatever it is that you're doing or whoever you're interacting with. So that's an access to living your dreams now versus someday when you reach a goal.
Yes. One day when you reach the goal, or one day when the situation feels perfect and you then go, I can now start. The amount of people who only start when all the stars align.
Yes,
I mean, you're waiting a very long time.
Exactly. And, circumstances are circumstances, but your word can alter the circumstances. If you have enough power with declaring things and having them happen, your word becomes like law in the universe. I mean, I have had things happen that are like, you can't even explain the stuff I've been able to manifest. I don't like using that word because it's a little woo-woo for me. I'm a little bit more nuts and bolt action results kind of person.
Yeah.
But, you know, I have created things and then with very fast speed been able to accomplish them because I've spent 45 years developing my word.
Yes, exactly. And that's the difference. The word, I love this whole discussion, because I had a client the other day. I was coaching on speaking, to be able to speak online and so forth. The blanket statement just came straight out. She goes, "But I'm just not good at this." And
you go, say so.
well, that's why we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
You know, well, I haven't been good. I haven't felt that I've been very good at it in the past, but now, why aren't you great? You know, now, why aren't you, you know, let's just change the language that you actually go, I'm here today because I'm wanting to be great at this. I feel that I could be great at this. I feel that I now will be great at this once I put in the work. And suddenly it just pushes you in a whole other direction.
Yeah, language creates reality. And most people use their language to describe reality. That's a very limited relationship to language.
Yes, and they describe a very subjective, distorted view on reality based on their 5-year-old self.
Yes, exactly. The lenses that they're looking through are clouded with past decisions and interactions. And, you know, it's just, we're human. And we have language, and that is, you know, one of the rare species that does. And we're able to make up meanings and stories and decisions and all of that, where a lot of that doesn't serve us in our fulfillment of our dreams.
Oh, so true. I love what you shared before in that creative space, and very, you know, Simon Sinek but in your own way of knowing your why. I remember like a few years ago, you know, someone was even asking Annie, well, why do you do Women's Biz Global? And I had to really, really unpack it. And it actually was because my two grandmothers, who I just adored, were both very talented women, smart, capable, but because of their era, they were way ahead of their times in their era, both very professional and working and capable. But I always thought, where could they have gone if they had a supportive framework? Where could they have gone if, you know, with their lives, if their circumstances were different? And so it actually, so every day I'm always thinking, and I actually even have a ring on one of my fingers that reminds me of my grandmother's. If I ever doubt, I just twist my ring.
Oh, that's great.
That's why. But it's amazing, these little connections that you go, wow, if I hadn't actually thought that, then there's days that it's not so fun, that the mundane does happen, whatever. And it's just connecting with that why and that reason to believe in yourself more, to believe in your capability, and then to surround yourself. Now, you have coached so many. I was looking at your bio, and you've searched, you know, something like 200,000 people.
Yeah, more than probably 200,000 people over the last 30 years, if I think about it.
How amazing. How amazing. Do you learn what the breadth of people is just insane, absolutely amazing. The more you do with people, particularly around the globe, the more you realize how diverse we are.
Yeah.
But are there some key common traits, if you like, that those listening in would think, yeah, that's right, I fall into one of these categories, and that gives me hope that I can now
most of the work I do is about the common parts of being human. We're all human. No matter where I've been in the world leading transformative programs or working with people, the one thing we have in common is we are human beings, and we are inside of a construct, and it's beyond culture. So, you know, while in Australia it may be different than it is in New York, than it is in Israel, whatever, it's still the same world called being human. And every person I've ever worked with has, you know, ways that they wound up being to compensate for ways that they thought they could never be.
Yeah.
And that's like what you said. Well, I'm not going to be a dancer, so I guess I'll take up swimming. And so people compensate for what seems not possible. And when you unlock those blind spots and shine a light on those unknowing decisions that you made whenever, and they just became the truths, the untrue truths, when you can shine a light on them, people are free because they're no longer limited by that lid or constraint. So a lot of the thing I found with all the different people that I work with is that people have a vision. It just might be cloudy or dark because they've got so much going on that they're dealing with versus creating. So, you know, why I'm so committed to people having access to the world of creation, because mostly people go to their grave having gotten through life.
It's exactly just surviving, not thriving, just going, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I got there. And you go, oh my goodness. Or those people who go, yeah, still here. It's kind
Yeah,
of like,
right. It's
I
crazy.
want to be rocking till the last days going, yep, still loving my, whatever,
Yeah. Well, I
even.
read a statistic. I was like blown away by it. 98% of people go to the grave with their dreams intact.
Oh,
That
how's
was
that?
like, oh, not on my watch. That's not happening. So, I mean, I'm just super passionate about people fulfilling what they want. Why not?
Exactly. Why not? You're not bothering anyone else. That's the thing. You think, oh, well, everyone else is doing their thing. Yeah, they should. They should. They should do them, to the to their nth degree, but you should also do, live your best life as well. Now, you started back in 2008 a non-profit called
Yes.
United Global Shift. You've worked then with leaders from more than 20 plus countries around the globe. Tell me about your reasoning for doing that.
Well, I was, had been spending a long time in personal transformation, which is incredibly powerful. But if we really want to alter the planet, personal transformation is not going to cut it. I don't care
Yeah.
how many people are meditating and how many people have insights. The systems that are going on in cultures and countries and governments, and that's what's keeping the planet the way it is in terms of the unwanted circumstances, like people not getting education or water or peace or whatever it is that you're committed to. So I met this woman who became one of my mentors in life. Her name is Dr. Monica Sharma. She was 40 years at the UN, and we started working together. And I designed a curriculum for United Global Shift for people who were like change makers, who had nonprofits or were leaders in their communities. And we worked with UNICEF and the United Nations and all different nonprofits around the world so that they could design their projects and initiatives in a transformative way so that they could cause sustainable change rather than band-aid solutions. And what we examine is not only their personal transformative space, but what are the systems in place that if they shifted, reality would shift. And that's what United Global Shift is dedicated to. Really powerful work. The people who have participated in it completely shift the way they're functioning in their projects.
Oh, I absolutely love that. And those listening in, can other people get involved with that in some way?
Well, United Global Shift, there's a website, unitedglobalshift.com or .org. Either one of them goes to the same place, and you can find out about our resources and the work we do and message us from there. Absolutely.
Awesome. Awesome. I've also read that you have raised or helped raise more than $90 million for different nonprofits. Oh my goodness. Does this come from where? Where does it come that you are real, humanitarian, really?
Well, mostly it's from wanting to make a difference. And I've always wanted to make a difference since I was a teenager. So I would do like the AIDS walk or, whatever athons, their walkathons or whatever they were, and try and raise money with them. I did a parachute-a-thon once where I got paid per foot that I jumped out of a plane. That was not a good idea. When I was in the midst of it, I was like, well, whose idea was this? This was not a good idea, but I did it. And what I got very inspired to make a difference in is with kids. So most, if not all, of the charities that I've worked with, from the PTA of my kids' school to Families of Freedom that dealt with providing college scholarships for the kids who lost their parents in 9/11. And, I just want to be able to impact the next generation in any way I can. So I've always found ways to play in that arena. But I'll tell you, that takes being unmessable with to do fundraising. There are so many stories people have about asking for money. They're totally stopped with it. And it's helped me in my own life raising money for movie projects or real estate ventures. And, I can ask anybody for anything. I have nothing about asking people for stuff. And a lot of people have a lot of considerations about making requests. And people sometimes say to me, oh my God, you do all these things. Like, how do you do it all? And I was like, I don't do it all. I have it all.
Yeah.
But I can only have it all if I don't do it all. So I better get good at asking people to do stuff because you can't do it all. That's absurd. But you can have it all if you're surrounded by powerful people and a team of people that are, supporting you.
Oh, that is so well said. And I hope everyone has just really listened to that gold nugget of advice, because I actually had that same perspective going, no, I want more and more abundance, because then I can then outsource. I can't physically, personally do everything, but I can certainly then just continue building my team to make amazing things happen. So why wouldn't I want to become more successful? Why wouldn't I want more abundance? Not for me personally, just so that you can get more done.
Yes.
I've been a CEO for the last 12 years at different organizations, and then the last one was a charity, an eye health charity. And it was exactly that. I could just go up to people and go, they'd arrive and, the corporates and, where are you at? And I'm going, well, you're going to have to give me some more money.
That's right. Exactly.
And then people go, oh my gosh, like, how do you get so bold like that? I go, because their money helps me help others save sight. It doesn't happen any other way. Give me the money, put it to good use. It actually means it's a good thing. And I think we stumble over this, I feel uncomfortable, or what if they say no? If they say no, they say no.
Exactly. What does it mean? Nothing.
Exactly. You haven't lost anything. They've just said no. Or maybe it was a no because you asked them in a wrong way, a different way.
There's always ways to adjust your performance, but also, you're giving people the opportunity to express their vision. I mean, they may want to make a difference in the area that you're asking them to contribute to, and your invitation gives them the opportunity to fulfill that.
Exactly. I had a rock star who became our ambassador, and it took 4 times. And I learned through this experience, because at the beginning it was like, do you want to be an ambassador? And then it's kind of like a job. And eventually I went, I'm just not understanding why you don't want to partner with me to help save sight. And it's kind of like, of course I want to save sight. And I go, well, there you go. All you got to do is show up, and
that's
people
right.
will whatever. And then all of a sudden he loved it, and you go, yeah, that's right. You've got to work out, their reason. And most people want to be useful. Most people go, if I can help, why wouldn't I want to help? Right.
I definitely learned that firsthand after 9/11, being in New York. We decided to do a show to raise money for the kids, and everybody said yes. Because at that time, everybody wanted to do something. They just didn't know what to do. So we had the cast some Sopranos and Law and Order and Chevy Chase and Barry Manilow. I mean, we had people coming out of the woodwork that were calling us to say, can I participate? Because people at their heart want to make a difference. I don't care who you are around the world. That's the one common denominator that I've found, whether it's at the level of family or community or the globe. People want to have an impact. They want their life to matter.
They really do. They really do. Everyone wants their life to matter. And I think it's also up to us to realize that. And that's right. Give them an opportunity. So I also think it's being prepared. So it's kind of like, you want to be ready that when someone says, how can I help? You can give them a way to help. These
and be
people
specific.
I have to do everything. Be specific, right? Yeah. I was back like when I had my 2 sets of twins. What if someone walked in the door? How can I help? Well, you can hang out that load of washing.
Exactly.
You can do this. You can make me a meal. You can do this. You've actually got to go, and I learned the hard way, because I'm like, I'm okay. I'm Superwoman, whatever. And they'd come and go, and you go, you've actually robbed them of an opportunity to
totally
serve, right?
Yeah. And it fulfills the human spirit to make a difference with someone. For somebody to come over to your house and be able to do your laundry when you've got 2 sets of twins, that's like fulfilling for somebody. But most people are so weird about taking people's support. I mean, they're just so weird about everything, It's so like, no, weird. I'm good. No, you're not.
I know. Why do we do
4 babies?
Sabotaging behavior. I did it. And I'm like, why did I do that? And I'd be sitting there watching the person walk away going, what was I thinking? What is this? We don't have to be a total soldier, we're just like, it's just crazy.
Yeah, so, we are in this together as humans, I hate to break it to everybody, but nobody is an island unto themselves. And we all have an impact on each other, good, bad, or ugly.
Oh, well, I think you are absolutely sensational, Josselyne. I have just thoroughly loved our conversation today.
Me too. I feel like we should do a TV show together, the two of us, in our orange.
Well, I've got a TV show, Women's Biz Global with Annie Gibbins, and so yeah, that's right. We should talk some more. You are definitely a fun kind of lady, and I love it because you're out there just living life, doing life, and bringing people along with you. And that's what I absolutely love. And that's what I see with people who become successful. And the subtitle of this show is Memoirs of Successful Women. And I'm hearing in this conversation over the last half hour, you're a successful woman because you've actually just stopped to think, why am I doing this? How could it be done better? If I didn't actually have limits, all those reasons, not, what could I actually do? Oh my God, I could help raise $90 million. I could start a nonprofit and bring other people on my journey. I could
empower people to fulfill their dreams. And listen to this. I have to share this one thing with you. So in 1 week, I'm fulfilling yet another dream. I'm moving to Paris.
What?
I have been talking about moving to Paris for 40 years. It was a someday, one day. And in the last course I led, I was listening to myself tell people, well, what's your someday dream? And I realized, wait a minute, I have a someday dream. And that was it. I said, nope, by June, we're moving to Paris. May 1st, we are on a plane.
That is so exciting. Well done, you.
Right? I mean, but that's the point. It's never over. There's no top to this mountain. There's always the next blind spot and the next limiting belief. Okay. And it's so great.
I love that. I'm a hiker, so I always see that false summit. You can't see it. Even the crazy one. Sometimes you can't even process that I've got that dream yet, even though I did. Because you're not ready, and then you suddenly get there and you go, oh, now I want to move to Paris. Now I can do this. Now I can do that. It's so layered. It's so encouraging. This has been so inspirational. And for those of you listening in, I look forward to you connecting with Josselyne. You can definitely go to her website, which is, I'm going to just read it off the screen.
I can do it. The art of being unmessable with.
The art of being unmessable with.com. How easy is that? If you want to be unmessed with, if you want to just go, oh my gosh, you seriously? One weekend and I can just suddenly get a whole new mindset. You know what? You can, because I'm living proof of that. Josselyne's living proof of that. Many thousands of people that we've collectively coached are living proof of that. And we would love that to be you, right? Like, why do you want to just go someday, maybe one day? No. Start adopting those words, the words that Josselyne has actually said. Yeah, let's just start unpacking that. It'll all be for a reason. And we've all had it, and it's normal, but we can overcome it. And I love that. And super love having you as a guest today. So thanks.
Delightful. Thank you so much. Great being with you.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Memoirs of Successful Women. I'm Annie Gibbins, founder and CEO of Women's Biz Global. And if you would like to fast track your future success, hop on over to womensbizglobal.com. Find out about all things women's biz, and most importantly, take the opportunity to have a free trial of Women's Biz Tribe. I look forward to seeing you online very soon. Until next episode, bye for now.